Do you keep killing your plants because you're busy and forget to water them? Well, you're not alone. But don't worry, today I'm going to show you how to construct an irrigation system that I've used in the past that will remember to water your plants even when you forget. Poor thing. So stick around and let's get started. I'm a big picture kind of guy, and if I don't have an idea of what we're building, I just don't understand the entire process. So what we're looking at is a PVC irrigation system. And what it does is it helps to water your plants without you doing anything. It's all attached to a garden irrigation timer. The garden irrigation timer controls what time the watering starts, how long it goes for, and how many days a week it actually waters. This particular unit has both a valve and a timer on it because it's attached to the hose spigot. The PVC pipe itself is what delivers the water, and there's small holes so that the water can come out. And the third thing is a quarter turn valve. This helps control the water pressure down the line so your water goes where it needs to. So there are three main parts to all of this. The first one is the irrigation timer. The second is going to be the quarter turn valve, and the third is the actual PVC piping that's used for irrigation. So with that out of the way, let's figure out how to build it. Your watering system can be expanded however big you want it to. However, for this video, we're just going to focus on the build for a 4x4 foot bed, which is what most people seem to use. So if you'll excuse my crude drawing, what I'm going to try and show you with it is that in a 4x4 foot bed, you need 5 prongs that go the length of the bed, and they need to be separated by 8 inches. This absolute work of art represents my 4 foot by 4 foot bed, and it shows that you need 5 different prongs, the third one being in the center, and you want them 8 inches apart. Before we cut the 5 prongs, the first thing we're going to need to do is figure out how long they're going to be. The easiest way to do that is to first construct your quarter turn valve and place the cross. You've got a 90 right here. You've got a connection piece, quarter turn valve, connection piece, another 90, one more connection piece, an elbow, a connection piece, and then you've got your cross. From that cross, that's where all 5 prongs will come through. From that cross, be sure to measure because you're going to be making 4 of these. For this bed, it turns out to be right at about 41 inches. Once you have the 5 pieces cut, you can start to see the layout as I have it down here on the ground. I also wanted to try and show you the connection pieces for the valve. You'll notice that the quarter turn valve is right there. All of the pieces that have spaces is where small connections of 3/4 inch PVC would go. From here, you start connecting your 5 prongs into the elbow, the T, the cross, the T, and the elbow. And of course, at the end, you will have your caps so water doesn't just flow out. Once you have everything cut and you have all of the connection pieces, I'm a big fan of laying it down on the ground and connecting everything first. That makes drilling the holes easier. Like we talked about earlier in that fantastic drawing that I made, we want to have each piece 8 inches apart, which gives constant coverage to the entire 4x4 bed of the garden. Now, for the cross beams that you want to put in between, since we have these laid out 8 inches across, we typically want to measure from the elbow into the T, and for me, that's right about 6.5 inches long. So I'm going to be making 1, 2, 3, 4 of that being 6.5 inches long. Once you get your tape measure lined up, this doesn't have to be rocket science. Just mark about every 3 inches with a dot or a line. These 3 inches will be where some of the irrigation holes go. Once you have 1 done, do the other 4. And now that we have our marks, what we're going to do is drill holes every 6 inches. So here, 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 etc. down the line. So I hear you guys asking, why did we mark every 3 inches but drill every 6 inches? That doesn't seem to make sense. The reason is because you're going to stagger where you drill the holes from one prong to the next. And instead of having water just going at 6 inches apart, you'll have water hitting the ground every 3 inches apart. Let me show you what I mean. Here we have the 5 prongs laid out on the ground without the spacers in between to make it easier for you to see. You will notice that I have drawn circles around every other mark on the pipes. Each one of these circles is 6 inches apart, but as you can tell, no two prongs have the same drill holes right next to each other. They alternate back and forth. What this allows you to do is then have water coming every 3 inches to where the plants are. Now that we talked about where to drill the holes, let's talk about how to drill the holes. You're going to need a 1/16 inch drill bit, and with that you're going to be drilling on the PVC pipes at roughly a 45-degree angle from each position that we've marked. Now on each one of these circles that we made, you're going to want to drill 2 holes at 45 degrees each. And now that we have that first hole drilled, all you do is continue down that leg and drill everywhere that we've made a circle. And once you get done with that one, guess what? You got 4 more. And here's a cool thing. Your plants aren't really going to care if it's exactly 3 inches apart or if it's exactly a 45-degree angle. They just want to get water. So when you're doing it, don't freak out if you don't get it exactly right, because you know what? It's still going to work. So once you have all of the holes drilled, be sure to connect it back up to your quarter turn valve, and you will have a drip system that will last many years, that is perfectly spaced out for your plants. So now that we have everything connected, let's see how what we built actually works. You'll notice I'm using the other bed because it's not as full and it's just easier to see. But what I really want you to key on to is that you can use the quarter turn valve to control the flow of the water. If you have the quarter turn valve wide open, you're going to get much more volume and pressure behind the water. If you have it cracked, you'll have a much more manageable flow. This gives you an idea of how it works. Right now, that quarter turn valve is completely on and water is going absolutely everywhere that it isn't supposed to. So dial it in with that quarter turn valve. Once you get that quarter turn valve dialed back, you'll notice the water goes exactly where it's supposed to. So now let's talk about a parts list. I'm not going to be able to give you what you need from your irrigation timer to the quarter turn valve because that's going to be different for everyone. But what I can give is a parts list that includes the quarter turn valve and what we have in the bed. So let's get started with the parts list. You're going to need 6 90-degree elbows, 2 T-connectors, 1 cross connector, 5 end caps, a 1/16 inch drill bit, and you're going to need roughly 20 feet of PVC pipe. I'd always suggest getting 1 stick more though. The last thing you're going to need is a PVC cement and primer that's labeled for potable water. Well, now we're to the point where we can talk about the pros and cons of this entire system. One of the biggest pros to this irrigation system is its track record. It's kept my vegetable garden alive through multiple Phoenix summers with temperatures well over 115 for multiple weeks at a time. It's an amazing system that works extremely well. The maintenance on it is pretty easy, and really it's indestructible. Once you create it, it's going to be there for quite a while. So now let's talk about the cons. Let's be honest, it really doesn't look that good. It's kind of obnoxious and an eyesore, but I prefer the practicality of it, and it's something that I can get past. Another negative is that it does need maintenance. Typically the maintenance isn't all that bad, and it usually happens when the irrigation holes get clogged, and that's usually fixed with a thumbtack. So that's pretty easy to fix on that one. Every season, usually I'll try and flush out the entire system as well. To flush out the system, usually what that involves is taking apart the PVC, getting a paper towel, and putting rebar through the PVC just to clean out whatever might be on the inside of it. Another con is that you're going to have a bunch of little white pieces from where you drilled out the PVC to create the irrigation holes. Probably the biggest negative to me is that PVC loves to separate from its connectors when it's under pressure. So from the irrigation timer all the way to the quarter turn valve, you need to use something to keep that together. Typically that's going to be a primer and a cement. Now you're going to want this primer and cement to be for potable use. To know if it's potable, you'll see it on the actual instructions. I'm never a fan of using chemicals of any sort around my garden. This says it's for potable use, so I have to trust that. But this is one of the biggest drawbacks to my entire system. I guess at some point in time, I just have to trust that they say it's safe, and it's safe. I really like this irrigation system. It's simple to put together. It can be expanded to almost any size. I use it in my main garden bed, and I also use it in the 4x4 foot garden bed. It's simple to use, and it's reliable. I realize that this isn't the easiest thing to follow on a video. So if you guys have any questions, please put them down in the comments. I'll be more than happy to respond and try and answer the questions. Thank you all so very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day.